William Bryan guilty of murdering Ahmaud Arbery last year. For more, let's welcome in our panel for reaction. Host of Mark Halperin's focus group, Mark Halperin, is with us. Republican Minnesota gubernatorial candidate Mike Murphy is here, and Naval Intelligence Commander Paul Chabot also with us. Gentlemen, good morning. Great to have you all on. Happy Thanksgiving.
Morning.
Thanks.
Happy holidays.
Mark, we'll start with you. Your general reaction to this verdict. Do you think that justice was served in the state of Georgia?
Well, you always want to be cautious. We weren't sitting in the courtroom, but based on everything I've heard and read about the case, I think justice was done. And I think you think about the alternative and non-guilty findings would have been further divided the country. So hope that the family can find some peace. They seem to feel positively about the verdict. And I hope the country can move on, learning lessons rather than in acrimony, particularly on a day like this.
Absolutely. Paul, President Biden reacted to the verdict, issuing a statement yesterday saying, quote, Ahmaud Arbery's killing, witnessed by the world on video, is a devastating reminder of how far we have to go in the fight for racial justice in this country. While the guilty verdicts reflect our justice system doing its job, that alone is not enough. The president sending a message there, I think. What did you make of that?
So, President Biden has sort of picked and choose which cases to comment on. Look, let's just be direct and honest. The video of killing of this man was horrific. I saw it. We all saw it across America. Just shocking. And I think the verdicts were just. My concern with Biden always has been that they make things a racial issue. They call Rittenhouse a racist. We need to bring the country together, stop dividing. And if this president would play on a level ground and be fair across the board, people could respect his opinion. But the fact is that he has shown to be quite the opposite. His comments don't hold much water, I think, with the American public today.
Mike, your reaction, do you agree?
Absolutely. The left is notorious for the race baiting game with these types of mob justice scenarios. And what happened was tragic. And I believe these three individuals served the justice that they were given. But at the end of the day, you get the mouthpieces like Reverend Al Sharpton and the gang come out and cause more division and hate in our country, just like they did here in Minnesota with George Floyd, the trial that took place. Obviously Derek Chauvin was guilty, but you still had Maxine Waters come to town, you had Al Sharpton, you had the entire race baiting gang, which just made the entire situation more tense, more violent, obviously, on the streets during the looting and protests and fires that took place in Minneapolis. We're a country of law and order, and we should not be ruled by mob justice.
Yeah, so that's a good point, Mark, and I want to pick up on that. There is this notion after the verdict that justice was somehow served for Ahmaud Arbery, but that the justice system in this country did not work for Kyle Rittenhouse. What do you make of that?
It's just part of the polarized way people take cases that don't necessarily have huge national implications and imbue them with some sort of cosmic meaning. I think people can find different ways justice is handled in different parts of the country, but we've got to stop over-interpreting these cases, and we've got to recognize that unity is more important than division, again, particularly now, this time of year when the presumption of grace to be extended to all has to be our bedrock.
Paul, we first saw this really with the O.J. Simpson trial in the early 1990s. We've got two other big cases coming up. Jesse Smollett, that case, we all remember that fairy tale, and also Ghislaine Maxwell. Do you think that cameras in the courtroom are a good thing?
I'm one of those that initially was concerned about cameras on law enforcement just because, we're eating or doing lots of things on prior law enforcement. What I'll tell you is my paradigm has shifted. I think that cameras across the board are important. We have them on law enforcement as well because we've shown so many times how law enforcement has acted correctly or in self-defense. I think people are watching these trials. They're more glued to them. What I worry more about is not the cameras in the classroom, the courtroom. It is more so the comments by the radical left media that take a narrative of what is being shown on TV to drive up a false narrative across America.
Yes. All right, Mike, same question posed a little bit differently. We have a statement from the vice president as well. I just read you the president's statement. I'm not going to read you the vice president's statement for a reason. Why is the president and vice president, why do they feel the need to weigh in on cases like this? Because it sets a very dangerous precedent. Why not weigh in on every single case?
Exactly. The vice president and the president of the United States are a part of a completely branch of our government, and they shouldn't be weighing in on what our judicial system outcomes are. And, we have to protect our jurors. If you looked at the Rittenhouse trial, we had Black Lives Matter activists and Antifa activists standing on the steps of the courtroom or courthouse and threaten the jurors if they don't, convict Rittenhouse of murder. And we need to protect our jurors, too, as well in the courthouse. And I believe the executive branch of our government needs to keep their mouth shut, especially the radical Democrats. We just cannot have them weighing in on these types of things. It puts too much pressure on our legal system, and as well as the media mouthpieces pick up on it and continue the narrative.
Yeah, the founders of BLM avowed Marxists, and I thought it was fascinating. Ahmaud Arbery's father on the courthouse steps yesterday saying all lives matter, not just Black lives matter, and that was a profile.
And you notice they tried to silence him when he was saying that. They
Yeah.
tried to pull him away from the cameras.
Panel, I enjoyed it. Mark, Mike, Paul, get to your families and your Thanksgiving. Thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Have a great Thanksgiving.
Morning.
Thanks.
Have a great holiday.
All right, coming up.